Welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to explore Aries season, which begins with the sun's arrival in the sign of Aries on March the 20th at 9:02 a.m. Universal. But of course we've already got in the sign of Aries the retreating Venus and Mercury, and also Chiron, and they're all going to be part of the bigger picture that plays out over the 4-week period from this event. But the other issue is that as the sun arrives in the sign of Aries, we have the start of the Western Tropical Astrological Year. This ushers in Cardinal Quadrant 1, the first backdrop of 13 weeks. It's a very big event, not least because as the sun arrives, it links with Venus, but also with the mighty but tiny energies of Pluto. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. I'm going to unpack all of this for you. I'm going to share the themes of the sun in Aries, but also the event charts based on a solar perspective that we can all collectively relate to, but also a natal perspective too, which is really intriguing. Then I'm going to share with you the upcoming influences. On this particular ingress, we're going to see the sun forging a series of very dynamic and positive connections. And then I'll go through each of the 12 signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what you can expect in terms of your ascendant, sun or the moon. If you're new here, it's great to have your company. If you have any thoughts, please do share them. This is very much a community. If you're a returning visitor, all your views and interactions are truly appreciated. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, we have found that 50% of people who regularly visit my channel are not subscribers. Please help it thrive. Click that or tap that bell notification symbol too. If you'd like to have a one-to-one with me, please check out my testimonials below, or take advantage of my new astrology video readings, which are proving really popular. Or you can order your personal 12-month transits forecast, but in my special package get 30% off, but also critically get your life roadmap report, the most important document any of us could ever read, because it's unique to each person, but it helps us to understand the energy we were given at birth and how it's played out in the patterns since then. The forecast helps us to use that energy in the best way over the next 12 months. Please see the link below for more. I have a new website. Please check it out. You can also sign up for your free daily written horoscope, or also your 3 natal moon horoscope. Please see the links below for more on that too. So as the sun bustles into the sign of Aries, the big takeout is the sun in the sign of Aries is exalted. It loves being here, second only to its journey through the sign it rules of Leo. But the first decan of the sign of Aries this year is going to go from the 20th, and the second decan, which is sub-ruled by the sun, starts on the 31st of March for 10 days, and then we have decan 3, sub-ruled by the buoyant Jupiter, which begins on the 10th of April. Now, Aries people have a reputation of being very determined to start things, can be eager to get on the front foot, perhaps a little bit impatient. It's a kind of ascendant type of energy, but that Mars rulership is all part of that energy. It is fresh, it is determined, it is at times rather impetuous, but we must remember that Aries people have a great gift, or Aries energy, and that's the gift of initiative, but also of instinct, because whereas other zodiac signs may take their time to make decisions, if it feels right for an Aries, the chances are they're going to go for it quickly. Be bold, be courageous, take that first step into the new dawn. But the accusation is that Aries people don't necessarily stick at things for the long term. But if we think about the whole journey of the zodiac, the ram, which is the icon of the sign of Aries, is very much about that initial thrust. And without the initial thrust, we couldn't have the consolidation of Taurus. We couldn't have the exchange of ideas of Gemini, the need for home and security of Cancer, and so on. So it's all connected. It's all part of the big picture of the zodiac, the procession of the animals. But it is true that Aries people can be very competitive. They like to have a challenge, and maybe if life does get a little dull and predictable, that's when they can get rather frustrated. However, we mustn't underestimate the charisma and personal dynamism of people with the sun in Aries. It is something that is really lovely to be around. It's very fresh and it's determined, and sometimes in life, if we want a prize, we need to be extremely single-minded in order to go for it. And that means that at times Aries people can be perceived as being rather self-centered and perhaps a little more egotistical. But let's look at the event chart. So on the screen now is the solar event chart with the sun at 0 degrees in Aries, the ascendant nominally at 0 degrees Aries 2 on the vernal point. What an exciting event the vernal equinox is each year, bringing in new life, new possibilities, a sense of excitement and hope. And this chart is not really just for the next 4 weeks of the sun's passage through Aries. It provides a backdrop for the next 13 weeks of cardinal quadrant 1. What does that mean? Well, Aries is a cardinal sign. This 0 degrees Aries is also known as an earth point, but so is 0 degrees Cancer. So this chart takes us all the way to the summer solstice at 0 degrees Cancer in the cardinal sign of Cancer. So very important, because cardinality is about action and authority. So that in itself, along with the raw element of fire, which brings and burnishes completely different vibe from what we've been experiencing recently, is something to welcome in. And we do have a terrific angle between the two luminaries, the sun and the moon. The moon's in the free-spirited, knowledge-seeking sign of Sagittarius. The other big takeout is the role of Pluto. Pluto's linking back to the sun in a very helpful sextile. They're going to become exact on the 23rd, a day when Venus, which welcomes the sun along with Mercury, despite their retrogrades, and also Chiron into the sign of Aries, a day when Venus forges a cazimi with the sun. So the 23rd, another very, very exciting day to look forwards to. But I want you to be mindful of the role of Neptune. Neptune may be moving into the sign of Aries for the first time in 163 years on the 30th of March. But on this event, it's the closest player to the sun. So as much as we may hope for a huge uplift in drive, passion and exuberance, the chances are it is going to be muted or mutated by the mutable sign of Pisces, which houses Neptune, the modern ruler of the sign. Because Neptune is the ultimate aquatic player. Think of the elements. So we have the aquatic Neptune extinguishing the flame of the sun. So we're not going to get an immediate uplift in the way that would be much better. If Neptune wasn't on that point, the sense of excitement and anticipation would be all the greater. But does that mean that we shouldn't have some hope for a shift? No, but we do need to be mindful of some themes here. We've still got Neptune in a conjunction with the node. We still have Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Saturn can be very authoritarian. The sign of Pisces is a sign which doesn't really understand boundaries, but it can mean, because of Neptune being very much to do with disorientation, confusion, and perhaps the manipulation of information, that it is possible that things are playing out that we're not quite awake enough to yet in order to find our voices around. But that doesn't mean to say there hasn't been some outpouring of emotion. If we think back to March 2023, when Pluto first moved into Aquarius, since then the whole debate about AI, automation, robotics has really reached a high. Now, of course, we're now in the third phase of Pluto being in Aquarius, and the significance is that Pluto can be about power. The sign of Aquarius can be detached, and it can be in some ways very much to do with philosophies. It has a duality, Aquarius, of the more conventional, traditional energies of Saturn and the more progressive energies of Uranus. And Pluto's reflecting those. So we could say that the people could find their voice, and that's happened only recently in Serbia. Over 350,000 people in the main square of Belgrade protesting against the government. We've had a large gathering of people in Greenland over the weekend. We've had a large gathering of people outside a particular car dealership in many cities across the world. So there have been outpourings of collective power, but also we need to understand that Pluto in Aquarius can be individuals using their leveraging power on the collective. And that, I feel, is the more sinister side of Pluto in Aquarius. So the link between the Sun and Pluto is going to be very helpful, particularly by the 23rd, when they come into the exact sextile. But one of the things that I feel that we need to do elementally is just be aware that Neptune can create a fogginess. It can, in a conjunction with the fiery Sun, extinguish that flame, and that can create smoke, and that can create a smoke screen. So we need to be aware of where we all are collectively, but also the actions we can all take as individuals to defend our collective interests. And you're going to see a lot more of this as we go over the next few weeks, I feel. But just be conscious that Chiron, which is very much to do with the wound, and the sign of Aries, very much about our identity, is being challenged by the ruler of the sign of Aries, Mars, in a sign which Mars is not the best in. It went into Cancer on the 4th of September. It went into Leo in the early part of November. Of course, it went into the retrograde on the 6th of December and then inverted back into Cancer on the 6th of January. But I feel that Mars in Cancer has been causing a lot of problems because it's where emotion is used in an angry way, but also a potentially manipulative way. So just be aware that when it comes to public services that protect those who aren't well or who are vulnerable, or people with, say, conditions that came from perhaps representing their countries, veterans, Mars can be a ruthless energy, a ruthless energy in the sign of the emotional compass of people, Cancer. So just be aware, it's not a panacea, the Sun moving into Aries. It's a potential, but it's a potential we all need to be activated on. We need to shrug off the sort of confusion and the mistiness and the shroud of uncertainty and the way information is being controlled in order to shape particular perceptions and agendas. We need to find our fight collectively. Seriously, this is really important stuff. So this event chart gives us an opportunity to see that the water of Neptune, particularly with Saturn there, and Saturn can in some ways be very grievous in the sign of Pisces. It's at the 28.5 year mark through its journey. It's going to go into Aries, as we know, 26th of May, end of August. then back into the sign of Pisces. So it won't be until next January that it will move fully for the longer term into the sign where it is in its fall. So just be aware that Saturn can be used to control. It can be about authority. And obviously the sign of Aries can be about using force, weapons. So just be conscious of that. So however much things are being spun at the moment, we need to be aware of what the longer term objective is in some of the decisions that are being imposed upon the people at the moment. Now I'm going to share with you the event chart from a natal perspective now. It does change things to some degree because the Sun is in house 11, but so is Saturn. And house 11, very redolent of that Aquarius energy. In other words, what anyone's doing as an individual has a very radical potential effect on all of us, the collective of us all. But the position of Pluto is in house 9, which of course can be about law, and it can be about personal freedoms, it can be about philosophies, it can be about where people will use their particular dogmas in order to control other people. Now, I'm a very moderate person, and I think some of the things that are being done on either side of the channel by the governments, I feel make sense, some of them. But it's important to have a proportionality and also to understand what the agenda is on other things that are being done. So some of the things that will please a lot of the electorate may be disguising other things which are not good for us all, in my humble opinion. So just be aware that 11th house array of the energy in Aries is asking us to unite and understand that however much we may have different views, we do have commonalities. And some of the commonalities that we have been fought for in very difficult circumstances. One of my views is that the problem with democracy is people don't realise what the gift is, the gift of having an opinion. My father was in North Africa, Sicily, Italy, Germany, and also in Austria for a year after the war, still rebuilding bridges. And you know, that held his life back hugely, being there after the war had ended for a year. And the people like my father who fought for our liberty would have been very concerned that those liberties that were so hard fought for are in any ways being impaired or reduced to suit people's agenda to have control over the people they don't want to hear their opinion about, meanwhile lecturing other people in the world about their lack of democracy. You could not make up the breathtaking hypocrisy that's playing out at the moment. So the fire of Aries is something we all need to evoke at the present time and shrug off the confusion and the in some ways apathy which I feel has been in play to some degree. Please stay with me as I go through each of the 12 signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what to expect. So Aries, if you have been feeling very low in vitality, it really wouldn't be a surprise. This is going to help you to come into the moment, but you still could find yourself processing some delicate issues from the past, or being much more conscious about who you can trust and who you cannot. But you do have that sparkling alliance between Venus and the Sun on the 23rd, the Venus GEMINI. If you are trying to work something out in your mind about a romantic situation, that is going to help. May not give you the complete clarity because of course Venus and Mercury are both going to inverse back into the sign of Pisces. And through the month of March, just being really honest with you, Venus is going to be in a broad conjunction with Saturn for virtually the whole of the month. So if you are unsure about a relationship matter, I don't feel the Sun moving into your sign is necessarily going to give you a lasting and firm outcome at this point. But what it can do is give you a much greater sense of urgency, of feeling more in the moment. If you have felt hypersensitive, Now you can still feel sensitive, but more motivated to get on the front foot to do what you need to do for you. It really can be a big switch for you, and I feel the link too with Pluto is very helpful, especially if you're someone who has a strong network of friends, because the chances are with the collective in Pisces, there has been some disappointments recently about some associations. You may have found out that a certain person was one of those fair weather type of friends, but you will also have found out who is really for you. So it is a transitional moment, this, but on the whole, your physical vitality is up, and I feel that's going to give you a spark to take a firmer grip on your life direction. Aries, please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. So Taurus, the sun moving into your 12th house is quite delicate, particularly as Venus, your ruler, is in this location too and in retrograde. You may find yourself doing quite a lot of soul searching over the next few weeks. That soul searching can go all the way to the end of April. Part of it may be around your future hopes. Perhaps what you're beginning to realise is that some of your hopes may be very solid and very worthy, but in some way you may not feel that you've got quite the inner resources in order to go for them. Perhaps it's to do with energy, perhaps it's to do with other commitments, a lack of finance, a lack of support from someone close to you. So you are going to be asked some questions. But the best way to tackle this process is actually to be really truthful about your vulnerabilities. Don't diss them. Take them into yourself, because the more you're at ease with the things that perhaps you do feel are a little more challenging or inhibiting, the more you're actually owning your true self. That can help you perhaps to then moderate or modify some of those hopes, particularly if those hopes are seeing you set your sights rather too high. But whatever you do at the present time, I feel that you could find yourself a lot more reflective. And if that's the case, don't beat yourself up about it. Everyone needs a pause, even in Aries time. So for you, that pause could mean talking to someone in confidence, taking some soundings, doing some reading, becoming a lot more conscious about what makes you and others tick at a much deeper level. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. So Gemini, the chances are there's been a lot for you to deal with recently around life responsibilities, whether it's the needs of elderly parents, children, your work. It hasn't necessarily been very easy, and you may actually be quite drained. But the sun moving into Aries can help that energetic dimension, and it can also evoke within you a greater desire to socialize, meet up with like-minded people, have some fun. And of course you could meet with some people that you haven't seen for a while. With Mercury and Venus in retrogrades, that could trigger some reunions. But just be aware, with your personal planet Mercury inversing all month and returning to Pisces at the end of March and joining with Venus, and Venus aligning with Saturn for the whole of April, despite the fact that there are some bright, sparkly possibilities, you could find yourself having to break away from the interactions you'd like to have to deal once more with some worldly responsibilities, and some of those could be to do with your work. If you do work in any kind of collaborative way, communication is going to be really important. over the next couple of months, not just through this 4-week journey. But if you are freer of some of those burdens, and there are people from your past that you would like to reconnect to, that may be something that gives you great pleasure. Also, I feel that some Gemini people can be embracing higher education or studying in some ways, perhaps even just to challenge yourself, and that could be something that you get a great deal of satisfaction from over the next 4 weeks. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you searing insights to guide your future moves. So Cancer, if you have a lot of worldly responsibilities and your personal freedom seems to have been very much impinged and you've been in the mood for a change, some crabs could be looking at the situations vacant with the sun going through the sign of Aries. It's a chance for you to raise your profile, be more dynamic, show more ambition. It's also a chance for you to connect to influential people, whether that's through proposals, applications, presentations. But with Mercury and Venus in a state of flux in the retrogrades in this sign, I don't feel that whatever goals you set at the outset of this process are necessarily going to stick. I feel there is a definite potential for flux. And by the end of March, as Venus and Mercury have returned into the part of your situation, which is much more creative, it's much more varied, it's much more stimulating and spontaneous, the sign of Pisces, which shares your water element, it's not necessarily about just having the prize. It's not just about the big job, the trappings, the car. It is about whether you're enjoying it or not, or you enjoy the environment that you're working within. So it does depend on exactly what your personal circumstances are. If you're free of any of the restraints that I've mentioned, this can be a time to make a bid, a claim for greater recognition. But if you're unsatisfied in a particular role at the moment, you're going to go through a big period of soul searching, I think. And if it's an environment which is rather hierarchical and it doesn't give you much space to breathe, by the end of the month and going into April, you could be reviewing exactly what to do. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you searing insights to guide your future moves. So Leo, the sun making its way into your sister fire sign can be delicious. This is going to amp up that part of your nature that's very passionate and loves to be on the move, loves to take action, and particularly in terms of vacations. But if you're someone who likes to physically be active, that's going to be stepped up quite considerably over the next few weeks. What about the implication of Venus and Mercury in retrograde in this area too? Well, I feel that when it comes to the details, particularly around travel, vacations, or relationships, for sure, those are areas that do require care, because ninth house energy can be very buoyant and very optimistic, and also it doesn't really like to discuss the small detail. Unfortunately, Saturn, still in your 8th house, is making you aware that whatever you do wants to be more enterprising around, it has to be paid for in some kind of way. So just be conscious of that Saturnian energy. But in general, I feel that you are going to feel a thrust and uplift in your vitality, your anticipation, but also it's a time for you to perhaps be a little bit more spontaneous. So if you are a Leo, which is a person who is really quite adhered to a set daily routine, try to challenge that in some ways. It's going to be good for you if you do. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. So Virgo, the sun thrusting its way into the 8th house can bring a sense of excitement. The 8th house actually likes challenges and in some ways even confrontation, even if it's not outrightly obvious. In some ways we want to test ourselves out, so it can be very transformational. Some kind of big shift could go on within you over the next 4 weeks. In a more practical way, the 8th house can be about shared finance, investments, savings, pensions, properties, entrepreneurship, and the sun's energy could give you a greater sense of excitement. But of course your ruler Mercury is in retrograde in this area, along with the planet of money, Venus, but also the planet of intimacy. So in those practical ways, in a sense, Mercury and Venus could slow down the sun, but actually be very protective and help you to use your core skills of analysis very carefully to inspect and think about and understand the true meaning of any potential decisions you make that could have very long-term consequences. But because you've had such a collective in your sector of relationships, the sun moving into Aries could be a time of endings if a tie hasn't been working, or conversely, a time when you lock in a relationship to a more devoted level. And it just depends what might be going on in certain Virgo's situations. But the one thing I can tell you that the sun moving through the 8th house won't be is dull. And the main thing is to understand that it can be quite a compulsive transition, this, particularly if you're attracted to someone who makes your pulse race, even if you don't necessarily understand why that is, because it's all to do with deep instinct. So it's an exciting time, but when it comes to your finances, I feel that you can proceed with care. When it comes to relationships, I think it could be quite decisive, all in, all out. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. The sun moving into your 7th house is really very good because having the collective in the 6th house, as you have, may have been somewhat draining recently, particularly physically. The 7th house helps you to assert your boundaries. You have your diplomatic ruler there already, and Mercury. It's possible that some conversations are going backwards and forwards. I feel in general relationship matters and partnership and harmony can be improved over the next 4 weeks. But there are some caveats because you perhaps won't get everything as you want. And as Venus and Mercury invert back into your 6th house, you may have to make some important compromises. If you're unprepared to do that, that could lead to a kind of brittle atmosphere, especially as Saturn applies to your ruler Venus right through the spine of April. However, as this event occurs, if you are wanting to rejuvenate your interactions with other people, perhaps be a bit more daring around your love life, well, you have carte blanche to try. Just be aware that words have power, and with the 2 retrogrades in the mix, not everything may go exactly to plan. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. Scorpio, you may have found yourself particularly creative and imaginative of late. Now you have an opportunity to take those strands and make them come to life by adding some practical structures. And therefore, if you can meld the two together, you could come up with something that's really long lasting. But also, if you're in a job which is rather routine and not very stimulating, some Scorpios could find themselves wanting to make a change. Then again, the changes that you could desire at this time are to do with your daily routines. And if there are certain parts of your approach to life that have become a little stale, this is a fine time to analyse them and to make some amendments. Now, that could be around what you're eating and drinking, how much exercise you're getting. Someone once said to me that just because someone's fit doesn't mean to say they're healthy. So I guess even if you're someone who's very virtuous in terms of going to the gym or going for a run or out on your bike, if there are some changes you could make to what you're fueling yourself on, they might have a point. I think for most of us, there are ways that we can be more virtuous. And the sun going through house 6, very much about virtue. It can also be a time when you could find yourself more connected to an animal if you have a pet, or even think about bringing one into your life. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report, and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you searing insights to guide your future moves. Sagittarius, recently there's been such a lot of emphasis on the feeling, emotional, sensitive parts of life, very much to do with family, your roots, where you live, who you live with. The move of the sun into your sister fire sign brings a spark. It also gives you an opportunity to showcase your charisma, your warmth over the next 4 weeks. But because Neptune is so close to the sun as this process begins, stay in touch with your instincts, be guided by how things feel. But whether it's to do with demonstrating your flair in artistry, or around your social situation or your romantic life, or if you have children, their pursuits, with Mercury and Venus in retrograde and set to move back into your 4th house as March goes on, in some ways this isn't going to see you taking a complete step into a much more lively time. I feel it's a bit of a juggle, but if you have got talents that haven't really been finding an outlet, or you have had a lot of things to deal with at the heart of your life, give yourself permission to go out and have some fun, meet up with the people you enjoy being with. It will bring a chime of uplift to your situation. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report, and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you searing insights to guide your future moves. Capricorn, the sun's move into the 4th house is pushing you, if you're eager to move or improve where you're living, to get on the front foot. You may have done a lot of thinking about it, perhaps there's been a lot of discussion. Now it can be the time for action. Of course, with Mercury, the planet of communication, in retrograde in this part of your chart, if there are people you need to deal with, third parties, there is the potential for things to be delayed and not go quite at the rate of knots you would like. But the 4th house is also about how we feel. It's that internal part of ourselves that sometimes we can resist being in touch with, because that means being more conscious of our vulnerabilities, of our sensitivities and our needs. And we live in a society where even now it's still important at times to project a sense of competency and coping and doing well and thriving. So you may find yourself doing a lot of reflecting over the next 4 weeks, and a lot of reflecting about family and emotional matters. If you're someone with an interest in genealogy, that really can come to life. But if you are wanting to improve your residency, you could be very busy in that regard too. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. So Aquarius, the sun moving into Aries, I feel is going to be really welcome. Such has been the focus on house 2, particularly with your traditional ruler Saturn there for the last 2 years, Neptune there since 2012. It will be great to get air moving, and for you, the sun may be arriving in the feisty Aries, but for you it's house 3, very Gemini-like. Gemini is quick communications. For sure, we do have a bit of a paradox because Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, and Venus, the relator, both in retrograde. So as much as things can pick up pace, they may not go at quite the pace you would like, but the important ingredient, I think, is the role of Pluto. If you're someone who has a powerful idea that you want to get out there to, the chances are that you can convey that with authority and also enthusiasm is really going to be heightened. So expect to find yourself enjoying some very important discussions, exchanges of emails. There could be some about turns, there may be changes of plans. It's going to be very fluid, but the one thing I can assure you, it's not going to be dull over the next 4 weeks. In fact, it's going to be truly exciting. Please check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily written horoscope or your 3 daily moon horoscope too. And also check out my special offer, 30% off of your life roadmap report and also your 12 months transits, totally unique to you, which will give you Syrian insights to guide your future moves. So Pisces, you may have been very enterprising of late, but do you feel as valued as you could do? If the answer is no, the sun moving into Aries is going to give you the determination to really get people's respect. Respect is more important than being liked. Mercury and Venus are, of course, in retrograde in your money sector, so the sun's arrival bolsters them. Maybe something is needing to be reviewed. Maybe there is a shift. But don't underestimate the power of Pluto, which is saying that past deeds, past effort, past commitment, and you can be very sacrificing, can come back to you. And even within 3 or 4 days of the sun moving into Aries, some good financial news can fall for you with the Venus cazimi. But most of all, it's important with the arrival of the sun to set your intentions about what you're worth. As you're thinking about your employer, your customers, your colleagues, keep reminding yourself of just how valuable you are, and that's going to help to pull to you what you're truly worth. Thank you so much for joining me for this Aries season special. Please do check out my new website at www.patrickarundell.com. You can sign up for your free daily horoscope or your free daily moon horoscope.